2 hours had already passed when Dominic Sharp arrived at the crematorium, his clothes slightly disheveled and a glaring lipstick mark on his collar. It was clear he had just had a heated moment with another woman. He approached an employee with a mocking tone. "So, where's Ophelia Burton's urn? Didn't you call me here to pick it up?" The employee, verifying that Dominic was indeed the right person, handed him the urn containing my ashes. Dominic accepted the urn carelessly, his eyes filled with mockery. "Is this really Ophelia's urn? Or are you just pulling some trick and filling this urn with the ashes of some random poor soul?" The employee looked taken aback, clearly surprised by Dominic's cynicism. "Mr. Sharp, this urn does indeed contain Ms. Burton's ashes. We have everything recorded if you'd like to verify." Dominic dismissed the idea with a smirk. "It's fine. I trust you." I let out a silent sigh, though I didn't quite understand why. My spirit lingered, tethered to this realm. I knew I should be at peace, but the fact that I wasn't officially buried kept me tethered here. Dominic should have believed I was dead by now, right? He had to, no matter how much he despised me. He could have just disposed of my remains somewhere inconspicuous, treating it as nothing more than a formality. But just as I was starting to feel a sense of release, I heard Dominic gasp in surprise. The urn slipped from his hands and crashed onto the ground, sending my ashes scattering across the floor. His lips curled into a malicious smile. "Oops. Sorry about that. It just slipped out of my hands." Then, with deliberate coldness, he placed his foot on the ashes, grinding them into the floor until nothing remained but dust mixed into the crevices between the tiles. I stood there, frozen, my breath caught in my throat. My gaze locked onto his, but no sound left my mouth. It wasn't until my ashes were thoroughly ground into the floor, completely indistinguishable from the dust, that Dominic finally removed his foot. His face wore a satisfied, almost triumphant look. He turned to the stunned employee with a grin. "Tell Ophelia that while her little scheme is original, it's a complete failure," he continued, his voice colder than ever. "In a few days, it will be my mother's death anniversary. She better show up at my mother's grave to atone for her sins. Otherwise, I'll dig her up and make her kneel there, even if she's really dead." The venom in his words was unmistakable, a threat so chilling that anyone who heard it could feel the weight of his malice. I knew well enough that Dominic was a man of his word. If he said he would do something, he would. I couldn't help but feel a strange sense of relief knowing that my physical remains were now nothing but dust, before the employee could protest. Dominic received a call. He turned, leaving the crematorium, and oddly enough, I was forced to follow him. My soul had no choice but to trail behind him. I ended up sitting in the front passenger seat of his car, helpless, as Dominic chatted on the phone with someone. I knew that voice. It was Isabelle Sharp, the adopted daughter of the Sharp family. Isabelle was no stranger to me. When Dominic and I were still together, she had tried to drive a wedge between us. She would spread rumors about me, even hire people to make my life miserable at work. When Dominic found out, he put her in her place, warning her that if she ever came near me again, she would be out of his life for good. Isabelle had backed off, but the damage was done. Now, as I listened to the conversation, I realized how cold Dominic had become. He was talking to Isabelle as if nothing had ever happened. "Why did you even bring her up?" Dominic's tone had become icier. "You're just ruining the mood right now. Besides, it's not like she's really dead." "But what if she really is dead? What would you do, Dominic?" Isabelle's voice held a probing tone, and my heart clenched at her words. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. In the past, if I had even a small injury, Dominic would have been beside himself with worry. He would never have let something happen to me. He had once told me I was his precious treasure, that he would cherish me forever. But now his response was filled with cruel indifference. "Then I'll throw a party that will last 3 days and nights, and fill the sky with fireworks to celebrate her death." The words cut through me like a knife, and for the first time, I fully grasped how much Dominic despised me. He hated me so much that the thought of my death was a cause for celebration. But the truth was, I was already dead. I had died in a hospital, and he still couldn't accept it. The car soon stopped outside a wedding boutique. I watched Dominic stride into the store with purpose, and my heart ached as I realized where he was going. It reminded me of the time when Dominic had taken me to a wedding boutique after we secretly got our marriage licenses at City Hall. He couldn't wait to see me in a wedding dress, pulling me into his arms with excitement, telling me I was the most beautiful bride in the world. Now, Dominic was here for someone else. Isabelle appeared in a stunning wedding gown, and Dominic looked at her tenderly. He tucked a lock of her hair behind her ear, his voice soft as he praised her. "You look beautiful." Isabelle smiled shyly, her eyes glistening with tears as she gazed up at him. "Dominic, I finally get to marry you." Shock coursed through me as I watched them. Isabelle leaned in and kissed him on the cheek. I wanted to scream, to stop the kiss, but my hand passed right through his body. I could only watch helplessly as he slid the ring onto her finger. How could this be happening? Why was Dominic marrying Isabelle? She was the woman who had been responsible for his mother's death. Yet here he was, about to marry her. "Dominic, wake up!" I screamed inside my mind, but no sound came. The scene continued, Isabelle admiring herself in the mirror. She asked, by the way, "Dominic, is she all right?" We all knew who she was. Did Dominic's expression darken? But he said with an air of impatience, "Of course, she's fine." Just a little stunt she pulled. "Are we still inviting her to our wedding?" Isabelle asked innocently. Did Dominic's lips curled into a malicious smirk? "Of course, she's a VIP guest, after all." I understood immediately. Dominic wanted me to watch this wedding. He wanted me to witness him marry the woman who had replaced me, the woman who had caused me so much pain. In the past, I had dreamed of having a wedding with Dominic, a real one. But after his mother's death, those dreams had been shattered. I had been blamed for her passing, despite my innocence. I had been forced to kneel before her grave in the pouring rain, while Dominic looked at me with nothing but hatred in his eyes. He had told me, "From now on, you and I are enemies." From that day forward, my world had turned upside down. Dominic had humiliated me, driven me to despair, and yet he never let me leave. When I saw him bring other women into our home, I had nothing left to fight with. He would mock me, tell me I was responsible for everything, even for the death of his mother. But what he didn't know was that Isabelle had been the one to kill his mother. And yet, Dominic's blind hatred for me had blinded him to the truth. After sending Isabelle away, Dominic remembered me. He unblocked my number, calling me like it was some grand act of mercy. But when I didn't answer, his frustration mounted. "Ophelia, why aren't you answering?" he muttered angrily. "Do you really have a death wish?" Dominic then stormed back to our house, searching for me. His voice echoed through the empty halls. "Ophelia, get out here right now." He kicked down doors in his frantic search, but I was nowhere to be found. His rage grew as he ordered his subordinates to track me down. Soon, one of his men sent him coordinates. Dominic's face twisted with anger as he recognized the address. It was Adrian Prince's home, my childhood friend. "She's been contacting Mr. Prince," one of his subordinates informed him. But Mr. Prince denies it. "We suspect he's hiding her." Dominic's eyes narrowed. "Wait for me. I'll be there soon." And so he sped to Adrian's house, kicking the door down with force. Adrian appeared, his face calm, though his eyes were shadowed with fatigue. "What is it?" Adrian asked nonchalantly. Dominic sneered. "You're hiding my wife, aren't you?" "I came here to take her back." Adrian's voice was cold. "I didn't hide her. She's dead." "Didn't the crematorium inform you to pick up her ashes?" Dominic shook his head, refusing to accept the truth. "Oh, so Ophelia's pulling another trick?" "She's hiding from me this time." "Huh." He was in denial. He couldn't accept my death, and his rage turned toward Adrian. "Ophelia isn't here," Dominic snapped. "But if she's really hiding, then I'll count to 3. If she doesn't come out, I'll make her regret it." Dominic's voice was full of rage as he began counting. The tension in the air was thick as Adrian stood there, unmoving. With one swift motion, Dominic kicked Adrian in the gut, knocking him to the floor. His men rushed inside. Searching the house for me, Adrian, though winded, stood up and grabbed Dominic's collar. "She's gone. Dominic, you saw her ashes yourself. Ophelia's dead. She's been dead for days." But Dominic didn't care. His mind was clouded with anger and hatred. He mocked Adrian cruelly, making jabs at me as though I were some object he could discard. Adrian couldn't take it anymore. With a yell, he punched Dominic in the face, causing the latter to stagger back. The two men collided in a violent brawl. It was chaos, and I could do nothing but watch. Adrian was no match for Dominic's rage and strength. Despite his training, he was soon pinned on the ground, bruised and battered. As I watched, a strange heaviness filled my chest, and I realized, helplessly, that I could do nothing to change the course of their actions.